party donor and is a prime mover in this area. Well, we're going to hear more today from Mr. Miliband. Mr. Vince, what do you hope to hear and what do you not want to hear? Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Nick. I think this is a really exciting announcement. I think there's an awful lot of common sense here. Firstly, I believe that we should own renewable energy assets as the public. We should have the benefits of those. I think something like 80% of our offshore generation now is owned by foreign companies, and so the profits of that leave our country. So I think that's a good move. And I think actually pairing up with Crown Estates to own the seabed, to take offshore projects through the development process to planning consent stage is a great idea. And I think the state should go on from there and build, own and operate offshore wind farms. I think it's a brilliant idea. We'll have the most benefit from our energy generation that way.
In a few years to come, Mr. Vince, how will we know GBE, Great British Energy, is working?
There should be a bottom line coming from it. It should be owning or part owning a number of assets, some considerably sized assets out in the sea. And there should be a bottom line coming to the country, a contribution to the exchequer.
We also understand, we will be hearing from Mr. Miliband, they want to press ahead with a new generation of what are called mini nuclear power plants, plans to unveil designs as soon as September. How much support would you give that?
I don't give it any support, actually.
Why so, Dale?
Well, nuclear energy has been notoriously slow and expensive to develop. I don't think there's a project anywhere in the world that's come in on time and on budget. Hinkley is at least 10 years late and billions of pounds over budget. The idea of proliferating nuclear power into these mini nukes around the country, that won't actually solve the economic problem, because when you make things smaller, you lose the advantage of scale. I don't think it makes any sense. I don't think it can help us by 2030 get to clean energy. I just don't think we need it.
If we look to 2030 and beyond, is wind the whole solution? Is it 50% of the solution? Is it 75%? How much of the solution is it, Dale?
That's a good question, Nick. I can't give you a precise figure. I think that the sun and the wind together are the solution, along with the smart grid, which includes grid-scale storage and smart homes that come on and off the grid at different times of the day. A bit of hydrogen storage to turn that back into energy when we need it, or put it into the gas grid. There's a kind of combination of things that will get us to 100% and keep us there and keep the lights on.
There's also a suggestion Mr. Miliband has overruled officials in his department to stop more oil and gas drilling immediately. Labour had previously indicated they'd only stop new licences being issued. If that report is correct, is he right to do that?
I'm not really sure what you're saying there, Nick. If he's saying immediately stop issuing licences, I think he's right to do that. There are some that are in the pipeline, as I understand it, and I think that's the prerogative of this government to say, no, that's not our stance. We won't issue new licences. But Labour have been clear; they won't cancel any licences that have already been issued. Which was your point, Nick?
It's whether new licences should be issued, Dale. That's what I'm driving at.
Yeah, no, then I'm with you. No, they shouldn't be issued. That's what Labour stood in the election on, and I think they're right to do that straight away.
Do you have much personal contact with Mr. Miliband, Dale?
I think I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago after the election, and it was just one of those kind of like, thanks for your help and stuff like that. And from me, congratulations on a big win. And actually, he's got a big job now, and I think he's the perfect man for that job. He's motivated, knowledgeable, committed. I'm very excited by what he's done already. It's only been, 3 weeks today, I think.
That we went to the polls. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, final question before I say thanks for your help. You and a number of celebrities have featured in the news today. You have concerns over the jail terms handed down to the so-called M25 protesters. You do believe in law and order, don't you, Dale?
I do believe in law and order. I do. And I don't think that the sentences handed down were orderly or lawly. I mean, they were within the law because the law had been changed by the Conservative government. But 5 years for taking part in a Zoom call to talk about blocking the M25, I think that's extreme. I don't think so.
Dale, they were one of a group of 48 people who brought the M25 to a standstill for the thick end of 3 days, causing £765,000 worth of damage to the economy and 1.1 million in policing costs. They didn't just take part in a Zoom call, Dale.
Well, actually, that was their crime. That's what they got 5 years for. And the cost now of locking them up, Nick, will be over £1 million. I think it is out of all proportion. You could commit GBH and get less then the jail term these people.
That is a fair point, but we do have laws to protect what's called infrastructure of this country. Or can we just close roads when we choose, or airports because of the cause?
Well, they were new laws brought in by the Conservatives to respond precisely to the kind of disruptive tactics that Just Stop Oil have kind of made their hallmark. And I mean, those days are over now as well, aren't they, Nick? It's worth bearing in mind, oil has been stopped at the ballot box. And we won't see those kinds of protests again. Maybe there's a case for a bit of an amnesty here to say, look, that happened back in the day. We're in a different place now.
Well, lastly, protesters were out and about at various airports across Europe yesterday, covering themselves in oil, covering themselves in paint and various other things. The message not got through to them, Dale.
Well, maybe they didn't elect a government that's promised to stop oil and gas drilling.
But this happened in England as well. We had an airport in England that was closed, Dale. These people are hooked on it. You don't know what you've created. You see, you've got this delicious anarchic streak running through you, Dale Vince, and you don't know what you've unleashed across the nation.
Well, that sounds great. But look, I mean, environment protests will continue, Nick. We're sure of that, because we are a long way off meeting our commitments to keep temperatures down to 1.5 degrees. But, I'm not a fan of massively disruptive protests, but actually protesting in our country is a democratic right, a very basic one.
Enjoyed our time as always. Look after yourself. Dale Vince, thank you.